Welcome to the Potion Podcast, your raw look at the hospitality industry, brought to you by SHC. This week's episode is proudly sponsored by Bar Green Ellington for all your restaurant and bar needs. Visit bargreen.com for the full portfolio.
What is happening, Potion Podcast? Welcome to another episode of the Potion Podcast. Of course, I'm your host, Shawn Soole. This week, I was having a conversation with a few people recently about the current labor trends and stuff like that, which I'm completely been talking about tons and tons and tons about, like these signing bonuses and increased wages and subsidized housing, all this sort of stuff. And I can see where it's getting a little out of hand for a lot of venues. Not every venue can afford these things. To be honest, I don't think a lot of venues can afford it at all. Now, when we talk about housing subsidy and rent subsidy, I do believe that there is an opportunity for places that are remote, Tofino, Ucluelet, Salt Spring Island, that sort of thing, to do that sort of thing to help get employees to those places because they're remote. Let's cut that out. Let's talk about Victoria, Vancouver, these signing bonuses, these fluctuated hourly wages. In my opinion, is literally an adaptation of what we were doing before. So a lot of these places are doing this because they have queues. So they've got wage subsidy from the government. They can afford to do these signing bonuses. They can afford to do these elevated hourly wages, but they're not really changing the rest of their business. It's still a turn and burn. So queues finishes up in October, I believe. So we're going to see a massive exodus of staff then, because I do honestly believe there's going to be a lot of these venues who haven't changed their prices, are still doing like super cheap happy hours just to get people in through the door. I think that it's going to bite them in the ass. And it's the exact same mentality that a lot of these places had before COVID hit. It's this entice people in, whether it's a big chain restaurant or giving away, doing benefits or something, and then just work them and then just spit them out the other end and replace them. And I don't believe this elevated hourly wage, these bonuses, these signing bonuses are really changing the culture fundamentally in a lot of these venues. These venues are still doing a couple of days training and then working these people 12-hour shifts 6 days a week, and still just pushing and pushing and pushing. And I've already heard about a lot of people who got signing bonuses that are burnt out because the venue still couldn't get enough staff to man all the hours that they needed with the signing bonuses and stuff. So I think we're creating this fake environment within the restaurant industry right now. People are calling it change. I don't see it as change. I see it as a Band-Aid. And my wife, we were talking about this the other day, said it the perfect way. She's like, we're closing an open wound with a dirty Band-Aid. And I thought that was a perfect analogy. Our industry is still fundamentally broken. I don't think these venues that are throwing money at people are really changing anything internally with their culture, fundamentally. Training, benefits, these things that are enticing people to stay in their venues, to keep them there. It still is just whoever's got the biggest queues budget is throwing money at everybody. And then those people in 3 months' time are going to have some very rough conversations with their employers. So the conversation is going to be, hey, I can't keep paying you this much. I'm going to give you a pay cut. And then you're going to leave, or they'll fire you, or do something. But if you've left a job, a solid job, for the enticement of a bonus or a higher pay rate or anything, and you've gone to a venue and they haven't increased their menu prices, because this is a simple one. If you were spending more money on labor, it needs to come from somewhere, and it sure hell is not going to come from the profit margin at the bottom of the P&L. It's going to be coming from food costs, it's going to be coming from drink costs, it's going to be coming from increased prices. Where is that money coming from? And so for the venues out there that are throwing cash at staff, if you're not changing your fundamental culture from the freaking core of your business, you're really going to be missing out in 3 months' time. Well, it's less than 3 months' time. It's freaking, yes, two and a half months' time, but 6 weeks. When Q's finishes, I do see a massive change in the industry for people who have moved over to venues for completely cash reasons. Now, I'm not going to blame the staff for doing this at all. It's not the staff's fault that they've been out of work for months and months and months, years, and they need the cash. I cannot blame them. But staff, people are listening to this, please be very wary of someone who's just throwing cash around to get staff. This is a worrisome time, and I do believe that I've talked about the reckoning that we could have fixed the industry while we were during COVID. I've done my best to fix my venue post-COVID. But that being said, if you've gone into a venue because they threw cash at you, is the culture still the same as it was before? Is the culture better? Are you happier? Or was it a quick $500 bonus, signing bonus to get a job? If you are listening to this anywhere else in the world, I know it's happening in the US right now, I know it's happening in Europe, be mindful. Cash is king, yes, for a very short term. It's a short-term ROI. Culture, you being happy, you wanting to work there, is the long-term ROI. And these uncomfortable conversations are going to come. I can tell you that right now. I'm going to see it all on the chat boards and the bounce back boards on social media about venues who are letting people go or cutting people's wages because they don't have that subsidy anymore. So on that note, guys, have a think about where you want to be in the next 3 to 6 months. If it's a quick buck option, hey, I'm not going to hold it against you at all. I'm not here to judge that. Venues, if you've done this, throw cash at everybody because you've got queues and you've got some money in the bank to fucking throw around because of queues, think about it. What are you going to do when that runs out? It's not going to be forever. If you haven't raised your prices, if you haven't cut your costs, where is the money that you're throwing at these staff going to come from? On that note, guys, thanks as always for support. See you soon. Bye.
Thanks for listening, Pose Shifters. I hope you enjoyed that episode. I really enjoy sitting down with friends and peers and just chatting about the industry and getting down to the nuts and bolts of what's really going on out there. Make sure you like, subscribe, comment, everything on all the platforms. Just hit it up and I'll do my best to answer any queries or questions you have. I'll see you next week, guys. Bye.